We're here today in Monrovia, Liberia with Naomi Tulay-Solanke, founder and executive director of Community Healthcare Initiative. Thank you so much for making the time to meet with us.
Thank you.
So what exactly is Community Healthcare Initiative and what motivated you to start it?
So Community Healthcare Initiative is a non-for-profit organization that provides healthcare and social services to underserved women in hard-to-reach communities and children in slum communities in Liberia. So our organization started 2013, I being a nurse, and I noticed that for every time I go out into the community, I would see a lot of young girls on the street either selling or pregnant. And at first, I didn't pay attention to it. Fast forward, I have moved back into a community that I used to live in growing up as a child. And I moved back into that community with my daughter back then that was 12 years old. And this day, what struck me most was taking her to school, and I saw this child that used to come in the yard to play with my daughter, pregnant. And when I'm asked, everybody smiled. It was just a normalized thing that teenage pregnancy, girls supposed to get pregnant. And it struck me back that 12 years then, I was also pregnant with my daughter at the age of 14. And nobody interrogated the perpetrator. Everybody named, shame, and blame me. So I felt that immediately there should be an end to this thing. And the only way we can put an end to this situation is that people need to start talking about it. People need to start educating people about it. And immediately, I felt that I could start a program where I could mentor young girls and talk to them. So I started on my back porch, talking to young girls, mentoring them, but that wasn't staying enough. I felt that I needed to leave my communities and go into another community and go into other communities. Upon doing that outreach, what we added to it, being a nurse, we did it like a mobile clinic where I contacted a few of my friends that were health professionals to join me, and the volunteer to join me. 3 months into that invention, we were hit with the worst Ebola outbreak ever in West Africa. And Liberia, being Liberia, bordering the other countries, we immediately became affected. We wasn't prepared. Our health system that was fragile became exposed. And the doomsday media report that everybody was headed for a place for death scared everybody living in Liberia. And immediately, we stopped our operation. But something compelled me to continue. With everybody staying home, our customary handshake that we were used to, our hugs, our visitation, we were denied all these everyday practices that we are accustomed to as Liberians. So it wasn't a normal life. And I felt that if we were to sit home and allow our way of life being taken away from us for a disease that can be easily prevented, then we're all going to die. So being pregnant, I didn't even stop. I went back into the community, mobilized my team of volunteers, and we started to create awareness into the community. We created the awareness, and what was different from what NGOs were doing is that we were local, we were from the community, the people trusted us, we knew the tradition in the community, we understood the religious practices, so it was easy for us to go into this community and start to mobilize young people that was already in the community, the volunteers, and everybody became foot soldiers, aminators, creating awareness on Ebola. So that's how we contributed to the process. But again, people always feel that with all the money being raised for Liberia, we will have had access to funding. All this initiative was not funded by any NGOs. Any donor was just local innovation, was just local minds, changemakers who believe that they should be part of the change that's supposed to happen in the community. So we decided that we were going to, the government has announced that all schools should be closed at the peak of Ebola. So 8 months after the disease has subsided, because our intervention, other intervention, we realized that schools were asked to reopen, but the fear remained consistent in the community that this disease is so infectious, just by touching someone that is sick, you can come down with the virus. And what is funny about this virus that is so infectious, it's so easy to be killed just by washing your hands. So all of the big donors had this one bucket with one faucet. to wash hands. We came back and like, you can have this one bucket with a long line that have 10 different faucets, and you can have 10 person washing their hands at a time. We never had funding for that idea. It was new. So what we did, we decided that the back of my car would serve as like a cafe. We're gonna sell tea, and we're gonna wash cars to raise money to be able to serve the communities that was especially hard hit by the Ebola virus. And in the process of doing that, we have raised money for 5 of the stand, we call it washing hand stand. Then we came in contact with Action in Liberia. Action in Liberia then decided to invest into our invention, and we were able to do that in 7 of the 15 counties in Liberia. We responded, and 112 schools have had adequate washing hand facility, and not just wash facility. As part of that project, since we already had the medical background, we were also doing IPC training. So IPC is infection prevention and control training. And as part of that, we were supposed to mentor young girls and boys in school, called it a Safe School Health Club. We had a definite amount of students that should be in a health club per school. So we say 10 male and 10 female. What struck almost, and this cross-cut across all of the schools, the 117 schools that we were working in 7 of the 15 counties in Liberia. Girls' retention. You will see that the girls will be in school, and you will start the training with 4 participation, 10 male, 10 female per club. Just going into the program when the program is so interesting, people understanding about the body, getting back to understanding about hygiene, and you're going to see that the representation of the girls, the female student, going to drop. And at first, the first thing that came to our mind, like, oh, the student didn't want to come to school. But we were so wrong. When we actually decided to investigate, it was just a simple biological factor, new administration was keeping these girls away from school. Most of the communities we worked in was rural community. Paths are so expensive. The girls had to work hours to access where they have the paths if they can afford it. So it wasn't available to them in the community. And one of the things that also affected them was this whole traditional barrier that you cannot talk about menstruation. And when this came up, when my staff and myself investigated and this came out, it resonated with all of the female staff that were on the team. And we're like, yes, that's true. And the male staff were like, what? We say yes. Because we knew growing up the challenges that we also face, that we have to use rags, unhygienic materials, and so forth. So we said that, okay, we're going to come back to the donors and tell them that, oh, you need to give us pads. Immediately, you know, they're going to give you disposable pads. We had our disposable pads. We went back into our community. We gave the girls disposable pads, and we're happy that the girls were going to stay in school. Yes, of course, they stayed in school for the first 2 months. And after that, when they ran out of supplies, they began to skip schools. So we're like, no, we needed to find something more sustainable, something more local, that these girls are going to continue to stay in school. Because we recognize that if we say that education is a fundamental human right, then menstrual health issue is also a fundamental human right for girls. So, and if we want to bridge the gaps in education to have more girls stay in school and graduate to be leaders, to be innovators, we have to create an enabling environment for them, and that is with what all the component of their body is made of. So we say we're going to find something, and the first thing that came to mind was, what can we find? And everybody like, oh, if we can use rags, if something cleaner than rags, we can use it. So we came like, we'll find reusable sanitary pads. So that's how we started with the reusable, locally made sanitary pads.
Oh, wow. There's so much gold in that. So it first started out as you realized that there were so many, okay, your own experience as a teen, you were pregnant as a teen.
Mother.
Exactly. And then you came back and you were a nurse, right?
Yeah, I'm a nurse.
You are a nurse. And then you realized that there were so many other teenage mothers and no one was talking about it. So what you initially started out was a way to let people know about reproductive health and empower girls in this way. And then afterwards, Ebola hit you at that moment, and then you got your hand in that, and then you surpassed that, and then again you started again with the reproductive health awareness, and then initially it was both boys and girls attending, and then the girls started to drop out. You went in and did some research and found out that it's because that they don't have enough access to sanitary towels. And you tried the NGO way, it didn't work out, it was not sustainable. And then you decided to create your own. Something that's sustainable, something that's reusable and easily locally available. We are fortunate enough that you have something here.
Yeah.
This is, can I open it?
Yeah, you can open it.
Okay, so this is the reusable sanitary towels.
And what most important about that is that when we started first, it's like my team and myself were the one producing it. And so we have to come back Monrovia, produce the pads, and take the pads to the people in the community. And we realized that it wasn't working. That we had to come back to the drawing board and say, if we identify women groups, small women cooperative groups that are already in the community, train them how to make these pads. And when they make these pads, they're not just making pads. They learn how to sew and also learn how to make sanitary pads. And the important thing about that is that they remain in the community because they live in the community. And all girls, like the thing about menstrual health, you can decide not to receive. I could be 20 and 15 and not seeing my period, and tomorrow I could start to see my period. So you need something that's already available. You can't wait for someone to leave Monrovia and supply you. So training the women in the community added another layer to our work, where it added, like, it created opportunity for them, livelihood opportunity for them, alternative income for them, and the girls always have access to pad.
Maybe you can just open it up, show it like to the camera and talk about it.
And this pad is locally made. So it's made out of fabric. So we see that this is the local fabric in Liberia. We have the plastic underneath, and we have this pad made of towels and the baby blanket, the soft baby blanket. You can wash it. I'm holding here because I'm demonstrating, but usually we tell people not to even touch the front of it. That the way that we fold it, you even fold it like this, and you can close it and carry it as a pouch around, and nobody's gonna know that you are carrying pads in your hand. And to use it, we also teach them the easy way, like you can open your pad like this and safely clip it on your underclothes so it remains on. So you don't have to touch the front part of it. And it's easy to wash. So there are some communities that people can't even afford soap. And we tell them, like, the rural part is that you just soak it in the water, and we all know about blood. Blood don't really stain. If you soak it in the good amount of water and wash it, all the blood stain gonna take away from it. So we have different shades of them, and we just use them. And we have tested this. This is in demand. The women are in serial business. At times I tell them, like, I need commission right now. But I'm so happy that girls always have access to sanitary pads when they are on the period and they remain in school. Communities that we have our pads in, girls don't stay away from school because they don't have access to pad. They stay away from school if they have to for different reasons. Because pad is no longer a barrier to these girls in the community.
I'm just curious, what makes it, I don't know, reusable and sanitary at the same time? Because as a woman, I have been trained to not keep a pad on for more than 3 hours and then like throw it away. But you're saying that this they use, and actually maybe the first question is for how long can they keep the pad?
So we tell them usually they keep it up to 5 hours on. Okay. Depending on how your flow is. There are people who are heavy bleeder. So if you are a heavy bleeder, you can't keep it on for that long. And if you're like somebody, like for me, I don't bleed. When I use this pad, usually it's like if I wear it like 8 in the morning till 5 if I get home, and I change.
Oh wait, do you also use them?
Yes, I use them.
Oh nice.
I use them. Like for the past 3 years, I have saved a lot of money. I don't use disposable pads, no. I use this, and all of my staff, most of my friends are fans of this. They are using it. It's like a year. So you have 6 in the pack that lasts for a year, 12 months. So we encourage people that after 12 months, change the pads.
Okay.
We know people are going to stay used it after 12 months. We'll also encourage them that once your set of pads had lasted with you for 12 months, please get a new set. Please get a new set, yeah. Compared to the unhygienic materials that people are exposed to, and you having this, they serve more better than any other thing that you can think about, yeah.
Okay. So you mentioned that initially you started out producing them yourself,
yeah,
but that wasn't sustainable.
Yeah.
So you decided to go out and train women,
yeah,
to produce it like locally.
Yes.
And I know there's a very interesting story about how you're finding the women to work with. So maybe you can share that.
Most of our communities, one of the things that the 14 years of civil conflict had done to Liberia, it have encouraged women to consolidate into networks. Because during the war, when you want to talk to a group, if INGO is in the community, if any investor is in the community or donor, they want to talk to existing structure. So the women have been able to mobilize themselves and come into groups. So that has helped us. Some community, no, we have to go out and look for the women. And most often we look for women who are interested in these activities. One of the things that everybody asks us that we do different is that we don't discriminate. We also have the LGBTIQ community, people with different sexual preference, which is criminalized in Liberia. But we work with those groups deliberately because we know they have health issues that need to be addressed. Yeah. So we have managed to have our team. And one of the things that we are doing right now is that, like, we involving, right? When we started first, we're just telling the women, and here's the part sell. Now we are in a business management process where all of the women that are selling have 10 cooperatives right now. All of them are going through this business management training with us. How do you sustain your business? How do you manage your business? Take this as a business and take this as your own. So we continue to brand, to keep like the CHR path for girls, because we want this to be like a brand that will continue, that will change, that will promote girls' retention in school, that will make girls live, learn, and lead a healthy life. So we want this to continue. So we continue to live, like use the brand and all that. So we are in a marketing phase right now at this time. But however, the women are still making a path. They are still selling them.
Okay. You've also mentioned that it's a not-for-profit, right? But also that sounds like it takes a lot of money. I'm just curious as to how you are funding everything.
So when we say non-for-profit, us at CHI is not like a profit thing that we want to do. So it's a non-governmental. Let me start to use the word non-governmental. So it's not like a business that we are investing into, like want money and to get rich. No. What we do is that we send a proposal to people who do donor scoping, to donors. We look for pool funds. We look for places where we feel we can get money and pitch our ideas to be able to build our communities. So it's not for us to pitch the ideas to make profit out of. But notwithstanding, we also pitch our ideas and include salaries for us. That's the only way we can be more sustainable. And not just only with sustaining ourselves based on what donors give us. When we invest into the paths, we ask the women, like they pay something like a deal. So all the women in the groups pay like 10% of all of their produce that they make. So it helps the institution to keep at float, to go to new community, train more women that are going to pay their 10% back, but what they still invest in their own commodity. So we have found different ways. We also do fundraising through having charity dinners. Sometimes we do crowdfunding. Like we just found ways to keep ourselves at float. Yeah.
Okay, so it's not profitable for community healthcare, but it is profitable for the women.
Yes.
Oh, that's nice.
Yes, not us.
Okay, and so what exactly does the training program look like, and at what point do you like maybe say that okay, now you're ready, go out into the world, produce sanitary towels, and like how do they make the money, or do you still stay involved with the women after the training and all this things?
So the training actually lasts for 2 months. We do a set of 10. Each time we're going to do a set of 10. And after doing the 2 months, there are phases. There are phases they learn how to do the cutting, they learn the measurement. There are phases they know how to sew on the machine. There are times they learn how to do the overlapping, the press button. So they have all the phases. And the thing about sewing the part is something that is immediately, you see the end result. If somebody knows how to sew, you're going to see it because they're going to be on the machine and producing the parts. One. The next thing is that we keep engaged with them. The reason we keep engaged with them, we believe in TOT. We believe that after we have trained them, even if they go back in the community, they're not just going to say, oh, I'm here, I'm the expert. They are also going to recruit other women. Even like we give them the tax that every 6 months, train 5%. So it's a competition. Like a whole year, one person should be able to impact 10 knowledge in 10 different women. Yeah. So we keep engaged like that. And the women, after they have trained the women, whenever we have funding opportunity, the women who have been mentored by them are the women we bring in immediately to assess them and see if we can get a starter kit to also go back and start. So we keep engaged as a network and we just want to build and extend. And the reason we keep engaged is that because we want Path for Girls to be that name. If we leave them, they're going to be on their own and move. We are not against them starting their own business, however, but we just want like, yes, this is something great that we all can invest in and change our lives to it. Don't let it go. Yeah.
You've talked about not only providing the means for them to access sanitary towels, to have like income also on top of it, but also to raise awareness and start that conversation. How do you measure where that is? How do you measure that? How do you measure how well you're doing with creating and having that open conversation amongst girls and women?
So at first we were like out of options on how do we measure the impact of this product, but we finally realized that it's so easy because we get to know that more girls are staying in school. The female dropout that schools used to experience that have our programs in the schools, the girls are staying in school, girls are spending more time in school than they used to when we never had our products in the school one. The next thing is that the conversation about menstrual health is so easy. People now talk about menstrual health. They shaming, they naming and blaming that people used to have that when you even mess your clothes up, it's like a common thing that everybody recognizes that this is a biological makeup. It's not something to be stigmatized. It's not something to keep her in the house when she's on it. So we have created that sort of awareness about it being a natural biological process. Then the whole taboo, the whole myth and disbelief that traditional has placed on it, and you already know the whole patriarchal system that, oh, this is a woman thing. We involve the boys to also talk about it. So the teachers are also talking about it. And one of the things we did this year, you know, globally, every year on the 28th of May is being celebrated as the International Menstruation Day. So the 28th is symbolic to the 28th-day menstrual cycle. And May is symbolic to the 5th day in the month, the 5th day in your period, which is the 5th month in the calendar year. So globally, everybody celebrates International Menstruation Day on May 28th. What we did this year in Liberia, we did like a whole 21 days of activism on menstrual health. So we're talking about stop blooded, shimmy, talk about the period, my pra. And we have all of the groups, all of the network that we work in has something to do. We have father talks, where we put the men down and we told them about period and we're seeing, like some of them felt nauseated, like, yeah. Well, we had that conversation like the whole 28 days we had radio talk shows, and we didn't stop there. What made this whole 28 days so unique that every time I'm so happy that we did it is that at the last day, which was the 28th day, so we started from the 1st of May to May 28th, the 28 days that the team of girls marched to the Ministry of Education where they read the petitioning the government on 3 counts. The first thing that all schools should have adequate wash facilities for them. The next thing is that sanitary pads should be tax-free in the country so they can have more access to it. The fourth thing is that menstrual health and sexual reproductive health and rights should be taught in school. It's not been taught in school. So that is something that we are engaged in the ministry with, at least for us to come with some points, like school gonna open 1 month from now. These are our petition. What are the steps are you taking? And we were happy. We had a conversation of not officially, but someone within the ministry that they told us that one of our demands will be met is that all of the schools going to have not just a wash facility, but a facility that is accessible to girls, like have more adequate water and have sanitary pads in it and all that. So we have passed that, and we are pushing for the two, that sexual reproductive health and rights should be taught in school. Yeah. And the other ones, like, we know it's money, government need money, but at least all sanitary products should be tax-free. So it should be more accessible, more available, yeah, more affordable to girls.
I love every single thing that you have said about that so much. And I especially like that you are even teaching the boys and not only the girls. Because I remember when I was in school, when I was in primary school, we would have always the company, they would come to our school. And then the girls would be called like by secret. Like it would be an announcement that would be made and say, all girls come to the assembly hall and don't tell any of the boys. And it was only like, it was like a closed club and only the girls were allowed, and it was all done in secret, hush, hush. Like no one was, it wasn't even announced that always is here. It was just said that, okay, girls come to the assembly hall. And so there was always that sense of like, it's secret, it's not supposed to be talked about and all these things. So I really appreciate that aspect of it all as well. What other partners do you have, or what partners would you wish to have?
Currently, most of our partners are donor-driven and like strictly for NGOs, from the NGO setting, because besides the path, we are big in women's rights advocacy here. So we push for access to justice, we push for sexual reproductive health and rights, and rights to abortion, safe abortion, rights to family planning, menstrual health with the pads. What we need is that these generic sponsorship, people who just want to believe in girls' leadership and want to contribute so more girls can remain in school, can be able to acquire skills that will be change maker or policy makers tomorrow, is that you can invest in this invention, because the more you invest, the output is so visible, because girls immediately remain in school. There are going to be more girls graduating from school. If you come to our school system, especially communities that we don't have our products in, elementary schools, you're going to see equal participation, both male and female. And we all know, because girls don't have the issues that they are going to face. As soon as they get in secondary school and senior high, most of them are going to skip school, they stay away. And the problem they face is not just skipping school and coming to school and see that you have tests to do. When you skip school, when you get back to school, there's another challenge. The teacher's going to ask you either for sex, the teacher's going to ask you for money because you have missed exam, and you want to have makeup because you want to graduate or you want to have a pass. And if you cannot even afford a sanitary pad, where are you going to get money from to get teacher money? Or at the end of the day, you're just going to have the teacher have sex with you. Either you get pregnant or you get sick, or you go out to have sex with someone else. You get pregnant or get sick, or eventually just forget about everything and just drop out of school completely. So to prevent all these challenges and barriers that girls continue to face, we need to invest in them, and not just investing in the structure of the school, but also tackle the barriers that prevent them from staying within school. Just how we talk to the parents to encourage their children to go to school, we need to do an enabling environment where girls can have everything they need to support them to remain in school, so they too can be change makers and leaders tomorrow.
What would you say has been your biggest challenge or barrier in this journey?
Two things: funding, one, and the next thing is culture. Yeah, the culture of like communities are sticking on. Some community, I don't even talk about the menstrual health. I got to change the name. We say barrel on cam. Barrel is on cam. Or we say the moon is red. Yeah, so we find names that people not going to figure out that we're talking about menstruation. You can't even measure the word menstruation. Yeah, you can't even say period. No. So we find alternative names that we talk to the girls. We also find a way to talk to the boys. But we are not stopping. Of recent, we are encouraging the community leaders into the conversation. So we go to them, we engage them alone and tell them the importance of what it is before we get to the girls. Because when the girls get back home, they get back home to their parents. So it's just a multi-layer of people you need to engage just to break this barrier. Because people have lived with this forever. You cannot change it. Behavior change is not immediate. It's a process.
Did you ever see yourself in this position, like being an entrepreneur? Was it always like a dream of yours, or did you just find yourself in it because of circumstances?
I think it's the circumstances that compel me to do it. I always knew that I would have been somebody that will contribute to society. So I I'm going to be a nurse. I'm going to care for people when they are sick. I'm going to make people happy and everything. And you can't just live with that one dream where every day wakes up and everything you see is falling apart, and you are just compared to like, I need to help. So there was this point in time that I realized that yes, being a nurse was great, but I needed to be greater. And being greater was not just to talk to people when they are sick, but prevent people from getting sick, interact with people to be able to stand up for their right to speak for themselves, especially being a victim of sexual abuse by being pregnant at the age of 14. There were so many things that compelled me to do what I'm doing right now. Yeah.
What would you say is, what are maybe your plans for like expansion, or what is the mission of Community Healthcare Initiative at this moment?
So the mission currently is like in the next 5 years, all of the 15 counties in Liberia will have to have access to pads, reusable pads. There should be cooperatives in all of the 15 counties. Women groups should be leading this, producing pads, having an alternative livelihood to them, to their own self, adding value to themselves, and solving their own problems because they know how to face it. And subsequently, I will be happy that if we happen to start to scale out to West Africa, to other countries, because the issue about menstrual health cross-cut all generation, all race, all, not sex, but all women, fat, slim, bright, white, black, we all face the same issue. The only difference is that people in the Western world can just go over the counter and purchase pad. The girls that are here cannot just say, let me just walk to the grocery store and get a pad. No.
I'm very curious to learn whether there was ever a point in time when when you realized for yourself, okay, I can do that, I can be a change maker, because from the story you shared, it's a, let me say, almost an unlikely journey in the sense that you defied the odds in a sense to say, okay, let me step up. Although I had a child at age 14, or was there ever a moment when you decided, no, I will not let that stop me from making a difference?
I think like every time I talk about I'm a feminist, and every time from the time I self-declare myself as a feminist, I realize that I think I was born a feminist, and it's not something that is new. Even if the word feminism didn't exist, I would have portrayed all of the characteristics of a feminist. Being strong, being resilient, understanding that despite the status quo, that yes, when you're a teen mother, you're not going to be, you're not going to contribute to society. You're just going to have babies. I've never had a time in my life that I felt that life was okay for me. Even now, I don't feel where I want to be. I know it's a process, it's a journey. So every day I wake up and like put my foot to the ground and feel like, yes, I need to do more. I'm doing okay. I don't need okay, I need excellent. So I have never been a time in my life that I will feel like, yes, I'd want to give up. No, there are times that I have felt frustrated. That's times I have felt disappointed. But I think all these movements have prepared me for where I am right now and going to prepare me to take me where I want to go. Because if we want to see, especially living in this third world country, if we want to see Liberia progress, if we want to see Africa progress, the only way Africa can progress, they got to progress by Africans. We got to take the leadership role, and not just African, but the young people who are innovative, who are selfless, who have the strength, who believe in change, who want to take the country to another level, who are transparent, who are accountable. are the ones supposed to lead it right now. So, and I feel that I have that obligation and I'm accountable too. So I have to contribute.
So you always had this sense of, okay, I'm responsible. I need to step up.
Yeah.
You always had that.
Yeah.
Wow, that's great. What do you do when you are frustrated? How do you recharge? How do you re-energize?
When I'm frustrated, usually I keep calm and think. That's why I think a lot. I think a lot. I do a lot of writing when I'm frustrated, because I think of ways to solve the problem that I'm facing right now. And sometimes I don't have solution immediately, but I just write. Just write a lot of things, and when I come down, I read, and some make sense, some don't make sense, and I just think like, okay, this is very good. I think I can work on this. Yeah.
So just by writing it down, solutions come up.
Yeah.
Did you have mentors or role models that helped you on this path?
Yeah, a lot of people. The first person who have always mentored me, like being my role model, peace be to her, actually was my late mother. Being a semi-educated woman, she was able to stand up for me when this unforeseen life circumstances hit me. She was my only background or support. So I always look at her as that mentor that I need to prove a lot to that, because she put everything on hold because of me. The next thing is that being in Liberia, and I happened to live to see the first female president from Africa come from my country. That alone tells me that a woman can be anything, a girl can be anything if she wants to and if she chooses to. So that have pushed me. Our former president, Eddie Johnson Sirleaf. Another person that also pushed me is Koto Reese Williams. She was the country director for Action Aid. So people get to say like, oh, when you want to have funding from donor, you have to know someone in the space. Someone need to recommend you. They got to know you. I implemented a project for Action Aid for 2 years without knowing who was the country director. Yeah, not knowing in the sense like we didn't know each other. Yeah. We signed MOU. There were mentor emails she sent to me like, your report need to have this. Like she mentored me visually without knowing me, because she don't have to know the partners. Yeah. The head of programs and other people who know me. But it wasn't something that I actually needed to know who was. She was only interested in the quality of work and who were giving the quality of work. And I see that as something that I want to take along, that I don't have to know people to help them. Once I value the quality of work that you bring to the table, I should recognize that and amplify it. One person, again, the last person is Lema Bowie. She also received the Nobel Peace Laureate Prize during the year our president received it. And being a very young woman at that time, and she was able to rise to that level by taking initiative to bring peace to Liberia. That's a lot. Most women will be at the back. And because these women that I just named are able to step forward and defy all the odds that society put, the stumbling blocks, the obstacle, I think if they can do it, I too can do it.
That's very powerful.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. How did you come up with the economic model behind the sanitary pads? Because it's quite powerful. You provide income, you provide a solution, and thereby it becomes sustainable, other than the solutions you mentioned before, that just donating pads that are then usable once, but then you run out of them and then you're back to the old problem. How did the idea emerge for the period?
So it's like, sometimes when you push against the wall, you think outside the box. And I felt that we needed to do something more sustainable. I was frustrated of having the girls not staying in school. I was disappointed that I wasn't staying in school, and I felt that we all were failing them because we couldn't continue to produce the paths to them. And even if we leave, what become of them? So I felt that something more sustainable, and it just came to my mind. The interesting thing is that when I started to do this, I didn't know that a lot of companies are already doing it. And somebody saw what I was doing at that time. This is the tier model to our work. And somebody like, Naomi, can you also Google it? I saw something in Uganda. I've seen this in Kenya. They start to name country. So when I begin to Google, I'm like, oh, okay, so other people are thinking the same way we are thinking. Yeah. So I was happy that I could improve on what we were doing back then and come out to this one that we have right now.
Yeah, great. That's very, very interesting. And it also reminds me of, I mean, in your case, you had this idea and then you saw later that other people were doing it, but also you can basically just search for solutions and have it be an innovation locally. So innovation is very context-driven, basically.
Yeah.
What would be your advice to a young Liberian today?
My advice to a young Liberian today that is wishing to be a change maker, that want to contribute to your country, is like, don't give up, be persistent with your goal, be consistent with what you want, keep on trying, reach out to people who are like minds, look for people to mentor you, look for resources that are easy to be found to start up with. Always just start something. Read a lot and concentrate on what you want to do. Concentrate on what you want to do. Believe in you, believe in your dream, and believe that gradually you're going to get there. It's not always easy from the beginning, but as I say, when you're persistent and consistent, you get results. And you have to be dedicated, like committed to your own cause. Like most often we're not committed to ourselves. If we say we want to do something today and we sleep all day, you're breaking your own commitment. So you have to be committed and accountable to you by saying that this is what I want to achieve. And once you have said that, that's your own commitment. You didn't say it to anybody. Make that commitment fulfilled to yourself, and you start to make other commitment to other people, and you can be great. Yeah.
That's powerful. There's also a commitment to the mission, not just how much money can I make.
Yes.
And how famous can I be, but actually how can I
help? Yeah. How can I be the change maker? How can I change my community? Yeah.
How did you and Ashoka fellow?
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
How did that come about? How did Ashoka find you?
Ashoka, it's the first time coming to Liberia, and we're looking for young, innovative Liberian that was already change maker in the community, already changing lives, and that's how they contacted me. It's a vigorous process to go through to be a Ashoka fellow. So we went through it almost like a whole year, and they came to the assessment. They went into the community, so the women that I work with. So when you come to my office here, it's not here. My work is not here. This is just like an ad hoc space. Our work is in the field. Our work with the women in the community. Our work is in the schools to see the changes there. So when I sit here, I will explain, give you numbers, give you figures. But when you are in the community and seeing the physical changes is what bring more life to this work that we do. Yeah.